when you young, you don't realize what poverty is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Poverty is crime.
Right.
You don't realize that you living in environments filled with substance abuse and tragedy and despair and hopelessness. But, you know, despite all that, you know, we was having our fun as kids, but, you know, it was unsafe.
Yeah, it was like a norm to us, though.
It was a norm to us. It was a norm to me. Mm-hmm. You know, my father's an older man. He was, you know, he's from Harlem, you know, but his family, they moved out there and they got my mother. He already had like a situation going, so my mother was kind of like a side piece.
Okay.
You know, people don't want to see it like that, but that's what it was. You know, my father's an older man. He's in his 70s, so, you know, I got to know him. He did his very best when I finally linked up with him. So, you know, I can't talk bad about the man because he did the best that he knew how to do, right? Mm-hmm. It is what it is.
Yeah, of course. We're not here to, you know, we're not here to judge anything.
Right.
Because this is the life that we was living.
Right, and I always tell him that. And I always make these disclaimers about him. I tell him, my mother, their story is their story, and I'm never going to bash them, just like I don't condone violence. I don't promote violence. I don't come on these venues and I don't glorify war stories. A lot of people got caught up in our transitions and our own growth and development, so I'm always mindful and respectful of that. You know, like these, you see a lot of what's going on with the younger generation. They smoking on somebody. And that's kind of, you know, out of my lane.
Yeah,
because we was into that and we know better. I can't condone that, but
absolutely,
you know. So my story is just one of how it went wrong and how it can go right.
Okay, so let us know how it went wrong.
You know, when you come up in these environments, you know, it can be anyone that's filled with, again, poverty, pain, tragedy, substance abuse,
lack of education,
single parenting,
mental health.
Your parents could be, you know, a lot of our parents, we don't want to say that, a lot of our parents have mental illness.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
A lot of our parents have mental illness compounded with,
facts.
You know, lack of education.
Facts.
Right? And then they don't have their parents. So you actually could be a kid growing up with kids, because a lot of us was born to young kids, and then they just stick them in these hubs, like these Section 8, these, you know, these project hubs, and then, you know, it's just the blind leading the blind, right?
Facts.
So I think that's part of the way that it went to start to go wrong. It's like Lord of the Flies.
Dog in the Yard, only on YouTube.